Jill oversees JillStanek.com, the top-ranking pro-life blog in the USA, and writes on pro-life issues as a weekly columnist for WorldNetDaily.com. For her pro-life writing, MSNBC's Keith Olbermann, who's no friend of the pro-life movement, may I add, named Jill, quote, the worst person in the world, last June 4th. As you can tell, a badge of honor she proudly wears. Now, Jill was a registered nurse in the labor and delivery department at Christ Hospital in Oak Lawn, Illinois, where two of my cousins live. I don't think she delivered them, though. She's too young to have done that. And she discovered not only were abortions being committed there, but babies were being aborted alive to die without medical care. When hospital leaders said that they would not stop, Jill went public with her story, and she has become a national figure in the effort to protect both born and preborn infants. Jill remained at the hospital fighting the fight from the inside until she was terminated, or at least her position was terminated, in 2001 for reasons related to her public outspokenness to its abortion practices. Jill has often been a voice for the preborn in the media, appearing in many, many newspapers and television shows such as Hannity and Combs, The O'Reilly Factor, and in publications such as the Wall Street Journal, the USA Today, and the Washington Times. Jill has testified twice before the Judiciary Constitution Subcommittee in the House of Representatives and in several state legislatures throughout her career. And World Magazine named Jill as one of the 30 most prominent pro-life leaders in the movement over the past 30 years. And in 2009, a year ago, in January, Jill was the recipient of the prestigious Life Prizes Award by the Girard Foundation. Jill is a member of Parkview Christian Church in Orland Park, Illinois. She has a husband named Rich and 3 children and 5 grandsons. Without further ado, please welcome Jill Stanek. Is it all true? Is all true?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Thank you very much, and I'm honored to be presenting American Life League's 2nd annual Pro-Life Blog Awards to 6 very worthy recipients. ALL asked me to tell a little bit of my background about blogging, how I got into it before I went on to the awards. And it actually started for me in 2005. But skipping ahead to January of 2006, I'm going to demonstrate exactly why I got into blogging. My local newspaper refused to run that ad. It says, "Excuse me, America, this is tissue, this is not." My paper said that that was too graphic. And it's just showing a preborn baby that, you know, millions of moms have on refrigerators across the United States. Now, in years past, I wouldn't have been able to do anything about that. Our hands would have been tied. We would have just had to skulk away. But I had a blog. And so I blogged what my newspaper had done. But little did I know what would come of my little blog post. Within a day, Fox News got a hold of my story. And they posted the complaint against this newspaper on Fox News. And so, whereas maybe hundreds or thousands of people at best would have seen our little ad, in the end, millions of people saw our ad, and it all came up, and free, I might add, it all came about because I had a blog and I was able to post on my blog. That is why I got into blogging. I began to understand the power of blogging back in 2005 when I read Hugh Hewitt's book, Blog. In that, Hugh described how the new media is taking over the mainstream media, and he gave a couple of examples that you're probably going to recognize. First was Rathergate. How many of you remember Dan Rather of 60 Minutes posting his bogus story about President Bush, and he said that he was derelict in his duties, and he posted online, he posted on this news show, supposed papers that were proving that President Bush was derelict. I know many of you are shaking your heads, you remember that. A blogger got a hold of that, and within a couple hours, we can turn it off. Within a couple of hours, they were posting online that this was a false document, and within 2 weeks, we had the scalp of Dan Rather, who was retired prematurely from CBS, and 4 other people had to be fired. And then in 2004, bloggers gave legs to another story I'm sure you're all familiar with, the John Kerry Christmas Eve Not in Cambodia story, the Swift Boat Vets for Truth. Many of you remember that group too. They were saying that what John Kerry was saying about his past history in the military wasn't true, and the mainstream media was ignoring them. And so bloggers got a hold of this story. They started blogging on it, and you really could say that in large part it was bloggers who really helped bring down John Kerry in that election. And by reading these examples and others in Hugh Hewitt's book, I began to understand how pro-lifers could apply that to our world, because everybody in this room knows that when it comes to the pro-life issue, the mainstream media, the liberal media, either gets what we've got going on wrong, they don't understand us, they ignore the stories that are of importance, and then they accentuate components of the story that aren't important or that are biased the other way. And I began to see how pro-life bloggers could take this and turn it around, go around the mainstream media with the truth. So in 2005, I started my blog, April of 2005. And that first month, I had a total of, drumroll, 18 visitors. So the key to blogging, one very important key is persistence. I stuck with it. I blogged every day, tried to blog several times a day. And so now I just check back on my stats, and my latest stats are that I'm averaging over 200,000 visitors a month. I get, and this is, I'm not saying this to spotlight me, I'm just saying this to spotlight the importance that we can have. On an average day, I get 10,000 unique visitors on my blog. And I don't know about your churches, but over the weekend at my church, we get 6,000 people into a church service at my church. So every day, I am reaching more people than all of the church services in my church combined on a weekend. And so many other bloggers here have that ability too. It's a great responsibility, but it's also a demonstration of how much we can get out to the public. And so we're showing greater and greater success. Pro-life blogs tracks all of the pro-life blogs that there are. It's prolifeblogs.com. They track all of the pro-life blogs in the United States, and I asked Tim Ruckty the other day how many blogs have shown up on pro-life blogs that are registered as a blog, and he said 1,000, believe it or not, 1,000 pro-life blogs are registered on prolifeblogs.com. So that is probably, not all of the pro-life blogs that are out there. So it's kind of amazing how far we've come in just a couple of years. One of our fortes is getting the truth out about Planned Parenthood, as our recipients, many of them today, work on, and about the abortion industry. For instance, Planned Parenthood Golden Gate, back in 2006, posted a cartoon. And many of you have seen this cartoon of a pro-abortion heroine called Dionysus, who shot evil pro-life protesters outside of her abortion mill. And she didn't just shoot them, she shot them with a gun full of condoms. So she shot them with condoms, and they exploded inside the condom. And then in the credits of the cartoon showed a pro-lifer getting decapitated. Now imagine if a pro-lifer had put together such a cartoon of pro-aborts. It would have been advertised all over the mainstream media, but of course the mainstream media was silent on this. But Dawn Eden of Dawn Patrol posted on this cartoon, and in the end, Planned Parenthood Golden Gate got so much notoriety that it had to take the cartoon down. And in fact, it tried to bury the cartoon, tried to hide it. But as you know, if you're involved in the internet, you can never really delete anything. And so pro-lifers found that cartoon in archives, and it's now on YouTube. They can't get rid of it. Blogging is also an important tool against pro-life, pro-abortion politicians. Now, back in 2004, when Barack Obama was running for state senate in Illinois, his wife, Michelle, sent out an email, fundraising email, hooking into the partial birth abortion ban. She said she called it a legitimate medical procedure, and she said people had to elect her husband to the U.S. Senate in order to protect such legitimate procedures as partial birth abortion. Now, I don't know why, but I kept a hard copy of that email. And then 4 years later, Barack Obama runs for president, and I scanned it and I put it on my blog. And if you've ever heard of this partial birth abortion fundraising letter that Michelle Obama put out, you only know of it because it was posted on one blog and then posted on hundreds of other pro-life blogs. We see examples of pro-life blogging successes every day now. American Life League understands the actual and the potential for how well blogs are doing and the need to encourage pro-life bloggers. So I'm really appreciative of American Life League for establishing the Pro-Life Blog Awards. So today, American Life League is honoring 6 of its finest. And they're all on the new media front lines, and they are being awarded this distinction by pro-lifers who voted for them online around the country. So this was voting that was done by their peers. People who get online and read these blogs voted for these winners. So now we're ready to present our first award, and this is for Best News and Reporting, and it goes to blogger Monty Harms of the Stand for Life blog. Monty got involved in the pro-life movement about 10 years ago through his local Right to Life group, participating in maybe one small event a year. But then when that didn't seem enough to counter the atrocity of abortion, Monty began volunteering at Justice for All, which is a pro-life group that goes to college campuses and shows thought-provoking photo exhibits for people to discuss and debate. Since June of 2008, Monty has also been the research director for Pro-Life Unity. In April, just not even 2 years ago, Monty launched the Stand for Life blog as a way to inform readers how to defend the pro-life position. And here we are, less than 2 years later, Monty is receiving this award. It's wonderful. Monty has a wife, Rose, and 2 children, Monica and Andrew. So congratulations to Monty.
Well, thank you, Jill, and thank you, American Life League, for this award and hosting this conference. And thank you to all the readers and voters who voted for Stand for Life, and congratulations to all the other winners. First of all, I'd like to thank God for using me to advance the pro-life position. Like Jill said, just less than a year and a half ago, I basically didn't even know what a blog was. And so I just had no experience with abortion or even knew anybody who had one. But I just had a passion for the unborn, and that passion comes from God. I'd like to thank, a special thanks to my wife Rose, my son Andrew, and my daughter Monica. My wife Rose is my #1 supporter, #1 proofreader, and also my #1 critic at times, which is needed. And I thank my 2 children for just tolerating me and all my rants about abortion and how I relate it to everything in the world. My blog really got started because of one person and one organization. The writings of Scott Klusendorf and the organization Justice for All were invaluable for me starting my blog. I'd also like to thank Peter Shinn of Pro-Life Unity. He's right there. Alan Thorne of Created for Life in England, Deanna Jones of Mother the World, Andrea Chavez, and Wendy Martin for spreading the word about Stand for Life and encouraging me along the way. I'd also like to thank a person who's written on my blog, Jamie Ashton. She stands in front of Planned Parenthood virtually every day, and people like her deserve an award also because they're on the front lines of this life and death struggle. I also want to thank all the courageous people who shared their stories with videos or the written word on my blog about their abortion experiences. Because a lot of these were very traumatic experiences, but they were courageous enough to put them on video, write posts for my blog, and I really want to thank them. So thank you very much.
Our next honoree for the Pro-Life Instigator Award, I would love to get this award someday, for activism is Troy Newman of Operation Rescue, and he oversees the Operation Rescue blog. Troy's been involved in pro-life activism since 1991, although in pro-life years, which I think is like dog years, it seems like a lot longer than that. Through innovative new tactics, Troy helped close over a dozen abortion mills, and over 40 abortionists stopped aborting where he was from in San Diego County, California. In 1998, Newman became the leader of Operation Rescue, which he rebuilt into a national active organization in just a few years. Newman moved his ministry offices to Wichita, Kansas in 2002, where he began an intensive campaign to close George Tiller, the infamous late-term abortionist. Since relocating to Kansas, Newman has helped close 2 more abortion clinics, including Central Women's Services, an abortion mill that he bought, and is currently converting into OR's national headquarters and a memorial to the preborn. Troy is a published author whose works include the book Their Blood Cries Out. And as a pro-life instigator, who I know very well, Troy is full deserving of this award. Congratulations, Troy.
I like the Instigator Award. Thank you very much, Jill. Thank you, ALL. Gosh, I'm not here to give a speech, but my goodness, the list. WordPress, but they do, and I give them an idea, and they run with it. We have a basic premise. It's essentially this. We want to make the abortion industry look really bad, which isn't very hard. It's pretty much low-lying fruit, and encourage the pro-lifers. And so when you read stories on OperationRescue.org, that's what you're going to see. And then we want to activate the activists from around the country to put their ideas into action. So for instance, when Rappin Ostenhan gets involved in a murder of little Laura Hope Smith, we worked with her mother, where the DA wasn't even going to give her the time of day. And we sent out an email blast, and all of you began calling and filling up this district attorney's email box, and all of a sudden, he's calling little Laura Hope Smith's mom. And now, both of those abortion clinics are closed, and Rappin has lost his medical license, and he's going to be on trial here later this year for manslaughter, thanks to you. Belkis Gonzalez down in Florida. You might remember her. She's the baby, the woman that took the baby after it was aborted and threw it up on the roof. Because of your faithfulness, because you logged on, because you made the phone calls, because you called the DA down there, because we held press conferences, etc., she's now been arrested and facing similar charges as the abortionist up in Massachusetts. And the list goes on and on. Bertha Bugarin from San Diego is now serving 7 years because we cared enough to persist in insisting that justice be served against these abortion providers. And I think that encourages the pro-life movement. I think all of you get encouraged when you find out that there's only 710 abortion clinics left, that over 1,400 abortion mills have closed in the last 18 years and have not reopened. And we just started a brand new campaign that you'll probably hear about a little later, but we're giving a reward to anybody that gives us information
that leads to the arrest and conviction of an abortionist and then eventually closes that abortion clinic. So thanks to all of you. Thanks to ALL. Thanks to Jill. Appreciate it.
Our next award winner is Scott Klusendorf of the Life Training Institute blog, and he gets the award for Best Pro-Life Apologetics. And sorry to say, Scott isn't here with us today. He's not able to be here, but you should know what a wonderful people. He's been mentioned here before today. You should know what a wonderful guy he is. He's president of Life Training Institute, and he travels throughout the United States and Canada training pro-life activists, including high school and college students, which is very important, to persuasively defend the sanctity of human life. Scott is a compassionate and engaging speaker, if you've ever heard him, and he's appeared on many nationally syndicated television and radio programs. He's participated in over 70 debates on college and university campuses against pro-aborts, including the former president of ACLU and the President Kathy Neer of Planned Parenthood of California. Scott also is an author, and he just finished the book, The Case for Life, Equipping Christians to Engage in the Culture, and it was just released a couple of months ago. So congratulations to Scott, and I'm sure that he very much appreciates this award. American Life League's Pro-Life Whistleblower Award goes to George Offerman. You can't clap too much. George has been involved in the pro-life movement since 1982, and he entered the blogosphere. We all have our reasons for coming into the blogosphere, for coming into the movement. His reason was as a counterweight to biases against successful pro-life strategies, and maybe he can give a little more detail on that. George wanted to challenge the positions of those in power to present the unvarnished truth of abortion to the laity and in general. George writes primarily on pro-life, to a pro-life audience that believes the movement has gone off track, and he is feeling marginalized and disenfranchised. His writing focuses on exposing the enemies of human life, as well as informing the pro-life movement to focus on ending legalized child killing. So congratulations, George.
Well, I want to first start out thanking God for this opportunity to be alive and to be present in this movement. Also, I want to thank all my teammates from Insurrect and X who, between Notre Dame, the Sotomayor hearings, and all the other things that we've disrupted and had the fun of making our faces known, it was great. I want to really express thanks to Randall Terry, probably the most misaligned guy on the planet, and probably the easiest target to hit. So I think when people want to make comments about somebody that's doing the work and making a difference, what all you have to do is take a look and say 36 years, 50 million dead, what's going on? It ain't happening. So it's time to happen. I'm a believer in the Word of God that we're on the verge of judgment if this doesn't change, and it's time to stop playing tiddlywinks. That's why I write. And so if there are people out there in the pro-life world that they want to placate the killers and, you know, use their language that they want to use that's very soft pedaling, well, you know, I'm not going to put up with it. And lastly, I want to thank my beautiful wife who has been a great support for me. She's been there sometimes as a critic, but as a great support. She has really helped in the background, and I think that I couldn't keep going if I didn't have her support. Thank you.
And now I would like to invite Peter Shinn, who's the president of Pro-Life Unity, to give our next two awards.
Thank you, Jill. And thank you all for showing up, and thank you for showing up for the unborn. We know why we're here. It's to lift the veil. It's not in front of us, but it's in front of millions of people. And one of the things that I think we can do is reach out in all of the different ways we can, blogging being one of those. And in the blogging community, like Jill was talking about, on pro-life blogs alone, there are thousands of pro-life bloggers out there. So plenty of opportunity to help get out our message. We've got to lift the veil. We've got to do everything we can. And one of the people who has been instrumental in my life in doing this is a man named Tim Ruckty. And I'll tell you, here's a man who has reached out to more people than I can possibly say, and helped me get started in my early days when I was trying to figure out how to get the message out to the community. I just, I couldn't figure it out. And I communicated with him, and he said, come on board, and we'll help you out there, and we'll get things going. And next thing I know, I'm writing for Pro-Life Blogs, and I'm helping out there and doing more and more. And next thing you know, we started the Blogs for Life conference, which is tomorrow, held every year as well. And Tim, I'll tell you, last year I wanted to give him an award, but we gave away another award, and it didn't wind up doing it. But this year I said, I'm going to give him a Pro-Life Unity Award. So that's why we have two awards this year. And this award goes out to Tim and Pro-Life Blogs. And please give him a great round of applause. He's helped a lot of us. And no, he's not here. He's at home. He couldn't make it. And next, for the Pro-Life Unity Award, that is the official Pro-Life Unity Award. That goes to Father Frank's blog. He won the award this year. And Father Frank's blog is read by many. I don't know how many, but even I have read it. And as a matter of fact, if you look at our name, Pro-Life Unity, when I was first searching for Pro-Life Unity many years ago, 5 years ago, what was the one thing I found was an article written by Father Frank. And in it, he was talking about the need for Pro-Life Unity. And that was the only thing I found at the time. To me, it was a message from God. Start an organization called Pro-Life Unity. So we did. And here we are today, years later, and I'm giving an award, a Pro-Life Unity Award, to Father Frank and his blog. And accepting that award today is Alveda King. And of course, Alveda King, no stranger to the pro-life movement, has helped in so many ways. I'll tell you what, I don't know how she makes it around the country and does everything she does, because I'd be beat. I don't know how you do it, but thank you for doing it, and thank you for accepting the award today, and on behalf of Father Frank.
Thank you. Thank you, Peter, and everyone. I believe if Father Pavone was here, he'd say, praise the Lord. Have you ever heard him say that? It's a marvelous thing. I followed him into the blogosphere, and he was blogging, and I was like, Father Frank, I thought that was for kids. And he says, no, it will work. It will get the message out. And of course, he blogs very effectively. And I want to thank all of you as bloggers and to commend you, because when the mainstream media was not picking up the message, the bloggers forced the message out there. And now they're embarrassed because their own listeners and viewers are saying, but we saw this on the internet. How did they see it? Through the blogs. I follow Jill's blog a lot, by the way, as well. So thank you on behalf of Father Pavone. Keep blogging. Just get the message out there. And don't let anybody stop you. Do more of it. And the young people love it too. And do we have any young bloggers out there? Raise your hand if you're a young blogger. Some you gotta be. Some young bloggers out here. I know you're out there. So keep blogging, and we're gonna get this word out. And on behalf of Father Pavone over at Priests for Life, I say, praise the Lord. Thank you.
And last is our award Somebody forgot their phone. For the overall best pro-life blog, which is kind of like, the last award. It's the best, Academy Award for Best Picture of the pro-life blogs. And this award goes to Jean Hyman of the Catholic Fire blog. Jean is a native of Illinois, just like me, and she started out by praying occasionally at abortion mills in an abortion facility in Peoria, and considered herself pro-life, but I'm honored to say, flattered, that she said that hearing a speech by me in 2002 prompted her to pro-life activism. She became a prayer warrior then and a sidewalk counselor at the local mill. In 2003, December, Jean began writing about her pro-life experiences and sharing pro-life news and views on her blog, Catholic Fire. Now, Jean moved to Wichita 4.5 years ago, and then she added to her blogging about George Tiller. And she also did, not only talks the talk or types the type, she also walks the walk, because she began sidewalk counseling and praying at the mill too. She later served as a crisis pregnancy counselor at Birthline. Jean is a retired psychologist, and boy, don't we need those in our world. And a freelance writer who lives with her husband, Bill, her #1 supporter in Wichita. So congratulations, Jean.
Well, thank you, Jill. I'm honored to receive this. And my heartfelt thanks go out to all my readers who made it possible for me to be here today. The secular Franciscans of Hays, Kansas, my own community of St. John, and the Kansans for Life, and all my many friends and readers throughout the world who have supported me. I really appreciate it, and I especially thank my husband, Bill, who's been my main support. Thank you.
And that concludes our award ceremony for Pro-Life Blogs. Just again, thanks to all the winners, and I just want to encourage any budding or bloggers or people who might be thinking about getting into blogging to go ahead and just do it. And also, as somebody mentioned, Peter mentioned, there's Pro-Life, the Blogs for Life conferences tomorrow between 8:30 and 11:30 at Family Research Council headquarters. That's at 801 G Street Northwest. And Katie and almost all of the winners of today's event are going to be at the Blogs for Life conference tomorrow, and they're going to be on a